Hello, everybody. Sorry for the slight delay. I feel like something is fuzzy over here. Um, and it's morning, so my hair, but the point is that this is going to be a very valuable video because there's a lot of input that I've gotten from you guys about the thoughts that you are having, the sort of the negative thoughts that are bothering you, and that can be quite intrusive, to be honest, which means that they will just come up when you're not trying to think about them, and they keep coming at you in a sense. So just to introduce myself, if you don't know me, I'm Tanvi. I'm a mindset and mindfulness mentor. If you want to follow me, or get more detailed insight into what I talk about, and just mindfulness tips, overthinking tips for anxiety, all of that, then follow me on Instagram. I'll put the link in the description below. It's We Wear Wellness. And yeah, so today I'm going to be talking about reframing these what if thoughts, or these scary, well, they're not really like scary, but these anxious thoughts that come up where you think about the worst case scenario, even if you don't want to. And this can really be bothersome because it can trigger a lot of anxiety and cause a lot of stress, right? Like you would be sitting, trying to relax with your friends, or maybe you are um, working and you can't focus because of these thoughts that are coming up, and so you feel that anxious feeling, and it's really hard to then like relax if that's what you want to do, or even focus and get work done if that's what you want to do. So it's just definitely something uncomfortable. I think if you're here, you would definitely relate to this, and a lot of the people, wonderful, lovely people in on my Instagram, my audience there, have given their input about what thoughts they have. So I'm going to be working through them one at a time, and changing them from negative to positive. So the first thought I that I have, well, not thought that I have, but someone suggested or said that they struggle with, is what if no one appreciates my work? First thing to do is to ask. So if there's a what if thought, ask, okay, how true is this? Like, how true is this thought, or how valid is this thought? How likely is it that it's even going to happen? Okay, so you kind of go with um, the evidence, the proof around it, to make sure that you can, like, to see, okay, well, maybe is this even worth worrying about, or is this even worth thinking about? Like, those fears that, okay, well, technically, if I step outside, I could die, or I could die this minute or this instance, but how likely is it, right? Because till now, you have 100% success rate of surviving, right? And so for something like maybe even failing a test, you might be scared that you're going to fail a test, but how likely is it? Like, do you think you're really going to fail the test, or maybe you'll just do a little bad worse than what you did earlier, right? So that is the first thing. And the second thing is to ask, okay, so what? Like, if it does happen, so what? And this is where we really go to like face the worst case scenario straight head on. And it's very empowering, because when you think about the worst case scenario and you think, okay, so what? Then it's like suddenly it's not that scary anymore. It's like you switch on the light and you realize that the cookie monster under your bed is actually just, your dog, or it's nothing. And you realize that, okay, what you were so worried about is actually not that scary. So the two sort of hacks are, one is to ask how true or how valid is this fear, and second is, so what? If it happens, so what? And then come up with an action plan. So as I said, coming back to the thoughts that you guys gave me that you struggle with, and it's 1111. That's just an angel number. But the first thought is, what if no one appreciates my work? So over here, I think what I would the first question, as I said, is how likely is this to happen? So you can consider, okay, in the past, how likely, like how often did it happen where no one appreciated your work, right? And even in this case, like, I think you have to define what it is much more clearly. So what work are you talking about? What specifically, like, get super specific about that. Is it just the effort you're putting in, or is it in general? Sometimes we feel like we're putting in a lot of work in general in life because it's like getting really hectic and we feel like we're doing our best. But when we zoom out, like, what specific area are we actually talking about? Like, where do we feel like we're doing our best, and where do we actually want appreciation? um and then, what do you mean by no one? Like, who specifically are you talking about? Obviously, the entire world is not going to appreciate your work, no matter who you are. Even if you're like Elon Musk, there are probably people who don't know who he is, right? Like, there's no, it's never going to be possible that every single human being on the planet is going to appreciate your work. And so, when you say no one, also, who do you mean specifically? Like, who is it that you want to appreciate your work, and which work? Once you get clear on that statement, which we actually have another thought. So, what if my parents don't appreciate what I do? This is another what if thought that someone else sent. So let's just put that as the example. What if my parents don't appreciate, maybe you clean the house and they don't appreciate it? Um, so that's the example that we're going to go with. Okay, so you get very specific. So now, what if that happens? Like, how likely is that going to happen? Have they never appreciated you in the past? Is it really true that they're not going to appreciate you? And secondly, another thing to get very clear about is, what does appreciation even mean? Like, does that mean they will verbally tell you, good job, like, I appreciate you for cleaning the house? Or do they, just subtly tell it, or like show it? Do they give you a hug? Are they kinder to you? Do they talk about it with other people? What does appreciation look like for you? Get very clear on that, because, otherwise, they might be showing appreciation in one way and you just don't see it in that way. Like, maybe they don't verbally tell you, but maybe they do appreciate you and they take you out for dinner, instead of telling you directly that, hey, I appreciate you. And so they do appreciate you, but they just don't appreciate you in the way that you were expecting. And so that's why it's very important to get very clear on what your expectations are, even if you don't tell them. But just knowing it with yourself can help you feel a little better, because you might realize that, okay, you were only looking for appreciation in this particular way, which might be, verbal appreciation. But when you realize that that's the only way you're looking at it, there might be other ways as well. And then you see, oh yeah, they did appreciate me, I just didn't see it. I didn't realize because I was caught up in one specific type of appreciation, right? So there are all these ways. And so then you'll realize that it's actually true that they do appreciate you. So there we go. That's the first question, really, which was, how likely is it that how likely is this statement to actually happen? And so you'll realize that, okay, it's actually not that likely. In the past, they've always appreciated me. Maybe they didn't tell me verbally, but they, did these things for me. They paid for my education. They bought me new clothes, or whatever it is for you. And then the second thing is, so what? So what if they don't appreciate you? What happens then? And this is something where we go really deep, because this will usually bring up, feelings of not enoughness, or feeling lack, or not worthy, unless you are validated by someone else. And this is quite deep rooted often, because it comes from, like, mostly it comes from your childhood. And so this can be very, like, sensitive, and scary, because if you're not validated by somebody else, whether it's your parents or whoever else, it can be really, really difficult to feel worthy. But you have to remember that you are worthy. And so if we come back to the question, so what if no one appreciates you? Or so what if your parents don't appreciate you? What happens then? Does that mean that you feel bad? Or does it mean that you appreciate yourself? Right? So that's the choice you get to make. And when you step into your power, which is a whole other topic, I talk a lot about that on my Instagram, especially in my courses. But we can't really get into that right now. But when you step into your power, you become that source of validation for yourself. And so it no longer matters if someone else doesn't appreciate you. because you appreciate yourself, and that's really the most satisfying feeling, because like otherwise we would just do something once and be done with it. Like if we wanted someone's appreciation, we would do it and then done, we wouldn't try again, right? But we don't do that. We constantly crave more and more and more and more and more. We're built like that. We want more. We constantly want more appreciation, more appreciation, more appreciation. And so when you appreciate yourself, though, that goes away. You know that you are worthy. You have given yourself that validation, and you no longer need to keep like chasing after, appreciation. So yeah. So I think it's very. This was like sort of going into another tangent, but getting back to just the exact point is, so what? Ask, so what? So what if they don't appreciate you? Does that mean you will not clean the house again, or you will not do your best again? Does it mean that your life is over? What is the outcome for you? What is the consequence? And is it just that you won't feel worthy or you won't feel good enough? And then if that's the case, then how can you feel worthy or good enough in another way, right? um, so that was just like the first sort of one of the thoughts that you guys sent me, but that combined with another one. So, what if my parents don't appreciate what I do? And what if no one appreciates my work? It's sort of similar because we're looking for validation from someone else. And then also, another tip I would give you is to change this what if thought to a positive affirmation. So once you've worked through it and you've gone through the deeper levels of, that validation, or realizing how likely is this even to happen, just to feel a little better and get back to like, a happy mindset and a positive mindset, which we all want, is to reframe it to a positive affirmation. So instead of saying, what if no one appreciates my work? What if you say, what if I am appreciated? What if everyone appreciates my work? What if I am so appreciated? I'm more appreciated than I even imagined I could be appreciated. What if not just my parents, but my entire family, my friends, my peers, my colleagues, everyone appreciates me because I am just so worthy, or like I did so well, that's the best case scenario. So think about that. Why would you be thinking about the worst case scenario? Because I think we often think that by thinking about the worst case scenario, we will like prevent it, or by overthinking, we can sort of put our mind to it and make sure it doesn't happen. But that's not true. We're not only like not changing the future, but we're also making the present more negative. So the present is really all you have. So make the present the most positive you can make it, or like the happiest and hopeful. So change the what if negative things, like what if no one appreciates, to what if everyone appreciates. Change it to positive, because again, I repeat, the present is all you have. And so worst case scenario, no one appreciates you in the future. That's the future. Deal with it when it comes. And as we have sorry, there was something, as we've already said, we will already have, if you go through the steps I just mentioned, you will already have dealt with the fear of it not happening. So what if it doesn't happen? Well, you'll move on, it'll be okay. So it's not even that big of a deal. And in the present, you might as well be hopeful and be positive. I hope that makes sense. So, just to recap, there are three things over here that I wanted to say. The first is to ask, how likely is this even going to happen? This what if scenario. The second thing is to ask, so what? So, what if it happens? And, move past it. Just deal with it, move past it. So, what? Be powerful. And the third is to reframe it into positive, because in the present moment, that's all you have. It's important to focus on the positive rather than the negative situation. Um, so another what if thought that you guys sent me is, what if I can't achieve that? And this is similar to another one, which is, what if I fail? Okay, so what if I can't achieve it, or what if I fail? So, um, again, with this, I think you would ask, okay, how likely is it that you will not achieve this? Or how likely is it that you will fail at this thing? Because because so often we sort of undermine or underestimate our successes or our capabilities. Again, for example, when we were in school, like tests, we might be like, oh, what if I fail? I fail at the test. That's exactly the same thought, right? What if I fail? But when we think about it, like we realize that we've not actually, most of us have not failed that often. And I mean, I'm not like judging or making a generalization, but I'm just saying it's very common to put like underestimate your abilities. And when you think about the previous successes you've had and your experience and your skill set, you can make a more accurate estimate of whether you think you will succeed or not. And most likely, you probably will. Maybe it will take, 5 attempts. Maybe you'll fail 5 times. Maybe you'll fail 10 times first. But then you can always get back. You can always jump back. You can always, succeed. The failure is not a failure until you quit. So no matter how many times you fail, it doesn't matter. You can still succeed, and then it's not a failure. So that is, one thing. And then the second question, as I said, is ask, so what? So what if you can't achieve this one thing, or you fail at this one thing? What's the worst case scenario then? If you said you fail your test, what's the worst case scenario? Maybe you'll say, oh, you will not get into the college you want. Okay, so what? Oh, well, you won't get the job you want. Okay, so what? Oh, well, then I will have a miserable life. Really? Is that really true? See, we go back to the really true question. Is it really true that, because you fail this one test, you won't get into the college you want, and then you won't get the job you want, and so you'll have a miserable life? Is it possible that you can get to a different college? Or maybe you will get a different job that you thought, or maybe you will get a different job and still like live your best life and have an amazing new different perspective that you can't see right now, right? So what? It doesn't matter. And like that just removes the seriousness or the fear from it. Like there are different ways. If you do fail this test, maybe you can take another one, or maybe you can get to a different college, maybe you can choose something else, right? Like there are so many other possibilities and options, so why limit yourself? And so even if this is not about tests or school, just in big picture life, if you fail at this one thing that you're trying to achieve, so what? There might be something better for you, right? And then the third aspect to this is changing it to positive affirmation, right? So tell yourself, what if I succeed? What if I am way more successful than I can even imagine right now? What if it was done easier, faster, everything just flowed into place and it was amazing? Because, I think a lot of times also is that we're setting ourselves up for failure when we're constantly focused on the failure. If you're into law of attraction or into manifestation, our thoughts create our reality. And this is not even just, woo-woo stuff. It's also something scientifically proven, which I've talked about in a previous video. But our thoughts create our reality, right? And so if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail, your body is literally going to take the actions that will make you fail. But if you say, I'm going to succeed, I'm going to succeed, I'm going to succeed, I am succeeding, then your body subconsciously is going to take the actions that will help you succeed. And proof also, you can even Google, like, athletes, Olympians, all these people, they visualize and they imagine themselves taking the winning shot or succeeding or winning the gold medal, running the race and being first. They imagine that it's actually what they train to do. So when they're not physically training, they are visualizing this in their mind. So even to you, why are you thinking, oh, what if I'm going to fail? Try to change it to, what if I'm going to succeed? And feel those feelings. And trust me, it will come a lot faster, but you have to believe it. So maybe you won't be able to immediately come with like, oh, what if I'm going to, like, I am going to succeed? But the what if is better, right? It's easier because you're not saying, oh, I am a success or I am a millionaire. You're just saying, oh, what if? What if I get to be a millionaire? What if I succeed? What if this all works out? It's like a lot easier for your body to believe. It's not, it doesn't feel like a lie. um so yeah, so that's how you can reframe these thoughts. And then the last thought that I got, or like the thought that you guys shared with me, is, what if I die? Well, this is something that's very like heavy, I guess. Well, actually, I think I did mention it in the beginning of this video, but over here, let's just consider, is it really, like, how likely is this going to happen? Is it really true that you're going to, I mean, you are going to die at some point, but how likely is it that you're going to die like today or tomorrow or anytime soon, right? Get the evidence together. I don't know what your situation is, what your health conditions are, anything like that, but you do it. You do it. Figure it out. Okay, like, how likely is it? Maybe don't go on Google and start researching, or maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll do that for you because I don't want you to get all scared. But we do have 100% success rate of surviving if you're here. So there we go. That's just evidence that it's probably not very likely that you're going to die like today or tomorrow. And way in the future, what's the point of thinking about that? Because again, as I said, the present is all you have. So by thinking about the future, you're wasting the present. So like, that doesn't make sense. And the second thing is, so what? So what if you die? I guess in this case, this is the only case where the so what doesn't really work out, because I guess then you died. But yeah, like, you can still change it into positive affirmation and think that, what if I don't die? What if I don't die? What if I'm living? And maybe that can also sort of go into this gratitude for being alive. Like, you are living. I am living. I am alive right now. How amazing is that? I am alive. I have hair. I'm moving. I'm blinking. I'm breathing. I can feel things. I can see. I can taste. There's so many things I can do right now. I can drink my coffee. I can drink coffee. I can taste water. You are alive. Appreciate that. Change that into a positive affirmation and feel the gratitude, because it's so lovely, right? Like this, it's magical that you get to be alive. And so, yeah, that's what I wanted to say for that last point. But then again, just to recap for you, when you have these negative thoughts, these what if thoughts, these worst case scenarios, here's what I want you to do. Number one is ask yourself, how likely is this going to happen? Okay. How likely is it actually going to happen? Secondly, so what? So what if it does happen? What is my plan of action? If it does happen, like worst case scenario, what will I do? And so what? Like, is it just maybe a fear that's not that big of a deal? And the third thing is change it into a positive affirmation. What if the good thing happens? And feel into that and appreciate the present moment. Because again, reiterating it, because repetition is key to learn concepts. The present is all you have. And by thinking about the worst case scenario of the future, you're not only just projecting that into your future, but you're also robbing yourself of the present moment. You're taking away the present moment, which is all you have. As I said, again, I'm going to repeat that. The future is just in your mind. Even the past is just in your mind. The present is literally the only thing you or any of us have. So be present and don't taint the present by coming up with worst case scenarios. If you want, make the present better by coming up with the best case scenarios and feeling happy about that and letting that impact your present moment. So I hope this really helped. If you like these kind of videos, let me know if there's any other topic that you want to talk about. Put it in the comments. And of course, subscribe, share this video with friends or family, anyone who you think struggles with anxious thoughts or what if thoughts, or worst case scenarios, because this can really, really help. And it will also help me because, this will help the algorithm push my videos to other people who might need this sort of information or might benefit from this information, but they just don't see it because, algorithms. But yeah, thank you so much for supporting me and watching. And I hope that these tips really helped you. And if you have any other sort of fears or what if situations that you want to talk about, just message me, comment them, or you can message me on Instagram. Again, that's We Wear Wellness, and I will add it in the description below. So yeah, I hope you have a beautiful day. Take care, and